I hate to be the one to say it, but the workplace does not work the way they told you it does. They said keep your head down, do the work, be loyal, and good things will come. But nobody told you what happens when your boss sees your talent, not as an asset, but as a threat. Nobody warned you about the victor types. And nobody prepared you for what it feels like to carry a cardboard box out of a building you helped build, while the man who stole your ideas watches from his window. This is a story about that moment. And what came after it. Phoenix, Arizona, a few years back. There was a guy in my neighborhood named Ethan, not famous, not wealthy. Just one of those people you notice, because of how hard they work. He worked for a tech company. His boss, a man named Victor, ran the kind of office where the rules were simple and unspoken. Agree with everything, get rewarded. Question anything, become an enemy. Ethan didn't play that game. He came in early, stayed late, built systems, created products, developed strategies that moved the whole company forward. But here's the thing about men like Victor. They don't promote people who make them feel small. They eliminate them. One Monday morning, Ethan got called into Victor's office. He thought it was finally his moment. A promotion, recognition, something. Instead, Victor leaned back in his chair and said words that stopped Ethan cold. You're overqualified for this company. Silence. You make other employees uncomfortable. We don't need people who think they know everything. Then he slid a termination letter across the desk. 10 minutes later, Ethan walked out of the building carrying a cardboard box. Eyes red, hands shaking, years of work gone. That evening he sat alone in his apartment. No music, no TV, just silence, and the kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from the body, it comes from feeling used. Cried that night, not because he lost a job, but because he had given everything to something that treated him like nothing. But the next morning, something shifted. He woke up before sunrise, looked in the mirror, wiped his face, and made a decision that would change everything. He was done building someone else's future. He set up in his apartment. No investors, no office, no team. Just a laptop, a notebook, and years of knowledge that no termination letter could take away. The lights in that apartment stayed on until 3 in the morning. Night after night. People laughed. Some said he'd fail. Others said he was aiming too high. He didn't argue with any of them. He just kept working. One night he wrote this in his notebook. And I think about these lines more than I probably should. The storm may steal the leaves away, yet roots beneath the earth still stay. The world may doubt what eyes can't see, but patience grows the strongest tree. 2 years passed. Ethan's company started winning contracts, then more contracts, then bigger ones. Clients trusted him because he was honest. Employees respected him because he treated them like people. The business grew fast, the kind of growth that happens when a person builds something for the right reasons. Meanwhile, something was quietly falling apart across town. Victor's company, the one Ethan had helped build from the inside, was bleeding out. Customers were leaving, profits were shrinking, investors were getting nervous. And here's the part that nobody saw coming. It turned out that a lot of what made Victor's company successful, the systems, the processes, the core innovations, had originally been Ethan's work. Internal documents confirmed it. Ethan's legal team reviewed everything, and what they found was significant. His work had been used well beyond what his employment agreements allowed. There were legitimate ownership claims over several key innovations. A lawsuit followed. If this story is hitting different right now, share it. Someone in your circle needs to hear this today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Stories like this don't find you by accident. The case went on for months. Victor spent millions fighting it. He lost anyway. The court ordered his company to stop using the systems that had become essential to its operations. Without them, the whole thing unraveled fast. Customers left. Investors disappeared. Debt stacked up. Within a year, the company filed for bankruptcy. I remember reading that headline and just sitting with it for a minute. Power moves. But it doesn't always move where the powerful think it's going. When the company went under, it was put up for sale. Most buyers passed. The debt was too large. The reputation was too damaged. But Ethan looked at it differently. He didn't see a broken company. He saw an opportunity. A few months later, the sale closed. The buyer was Ethan. The same man Victor called overqualified. The same man who walked out of that building with a cardboard box. He now owned the entire thing. On the day ownership officially transferred, Victor showed up. He wasn't there for a meeting. He wasn't there to negotiate. He came to collect a small box of personal belongings from an office that was no longer his. The man who once sat behind the biggest desk in the building had no desk at all anymore. Ethan didn't gloat, didn't make a speech about it, didn't post anything. He stood in front of the remaining employees and thanked them for holding on through everything. He told them he planned to rebuild, the right way this time. Victor walked out through the front doors. The employees watched. Nobody clapped. Nobody said anything, just silence. And sometimes silence is the loudest thing in the room. Ethan's company is doing well now. Hundreds of people have jobs because of what he built. Both the company he started in his apartment and the one he bought back. Victor. Not much to report. That's kind of the point. I've thought about this story a lot since it happened, because the tempting way to read it is as a revenge story. Guy gets fired, guy wins in the end, boss gets what he deserved. But that's not actually what made the difference. What made the difference was one decision Ethan made the morning after the worst day of his professional life. He decided that what happened to him was not going to be the ending. He didn't spend his energy trying to take Victor down. He spent his energy building something real, something that belonged to him. The lawsuit, the bankruptcy, the buyout, none of that was the plan. It was just what happened when someone builds with integrity and someone else builds on theft. The day Ethan got fired, he thought his life was falling apart. He was wrong. It was just finally beginning on his own terms. I'll leave you with something simple. If you're in a job right now where your work is being taken and your name isn't attached to any of it, pay attention to what that's costing you. Not just the credit, the time, the energy, the years. And sometimes silence is the loudest thing in the room. Ethan's company is doing well now. Hundreds of people have jobs because of what he built. Both the company he started in his apartment and the one he bought back. Victor. Not much to report. That's kind of the point. I've thought about this story a lot since it happened, because the tempting way to read it is as a revenge story. Guy gets fired, guy wins in the end, boss gets what he deserved. But that's not actually what made the difference. What made the difference was one decision Ethan made the morning after the worst day of his professional life.